My interpersonal skill that I'm focusing on is conflict resolution. My third effort was compromise and kind of just understanding how important compromise is, and it actually kind of goes hand in hand with feelings. So I definitely feel like this one wasn't necessarily least successful, but I would say that since I was already pretty good in the topic of compromise, I feel like I had better results with active listening and the making sure everybody's feelings are heard, just because those two I kind of had to work on. Whereas compromise, I kind of just, I mean, there's always room for improvement, but compromise, I already kind of had like a standard ground of knowing how to use compromise in a conflict resolution situation. And if you think about it, there's a pretty large majority of conflict resolution situations that pretty much have to end in a compromise. I mean, not everybody is going to be like super over the moon with the result, but as long as it's solved and everybody's heard and there is a meeting ground, then the conflict can be over. But not all compromises everybody will be happy with. Now, even though I would say that I'm pretty good with compromise, there's definitely situations where I've been unsuccessful because nobody's perfect. And even if I'm pretty good at it, there's definitely times where I could use improvement. And the biggest thing that I struggle with compromise is what is for dinner. Now, you may not think that deciding what could be for dinner could cause a conflict, but it really can. Because if you're set on one thing and somebody else is set on another thing, then you may just be going back and forth nonstop. I would say it's more of a conflict when everybody wants something that I don't like. I do not like burgers at all. So last night, actually, everybody wanted burgers except for me. So we really needed to compromise on what we were going to have. But I consider this one an unsuccessful situation because although we did all compromise on eating burgers, I just decided to not eat at all, which I would say is unsuccessful because you're kind of meeting with a compromise, but I didn't really go along with what everybody agreed on. So I wouldn't classify that as a success at all. A success that I did have, though, kind of leads back to my other journal entry about having people over when I did not want anybody over. And this also kind of like brings in all of my efforts into one situation. I had to active listen to my husband on what he wanted to do for the night for football. He wanted to have people over. I also had to take account his feelings, take account his friends' feelings, how they wanted to come over and hang out, while also taking account my feelings. And it all worked out, actually. I pretty much just used 3 efforts in one to solve the conflict. And my husband is also very good at compromising. That's like a very big, strong suit that he has. So he actually also helps me understand what compromising is, and we always work it out. I also feel like compromise is pretty successful when it comes to conflict resolution because if you're actively compromising with people, it can honestly, instead of solving a conflict, you might just avoid a conflict overall, which honestly is better than having a conflict start and then having to work through solving it if you can just avoid it altogether with these efforts that I've been discussing.